We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, he's Mike. Welcome to our little corner of the podcasting universe. Hopefully you like the sound of our voices and you want to stick around for the show. Not that it stays in one place for long. I mean, after all, we are on the road with Mickey. So hop in the car and buckle up your seat belts because we've got an awesome adventure this week. Now a brief rundown before we get moving. First up, our roundtable talk where we'll discuss the main topic for this week, followed by some Disney trivia ranging from Disney history to a random Disney character of the day. Well, that's just about it. Everybody ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie.
Hi, and I'm reporting from a whole new place now. I recently moved into my new apartment down in Florida, closer to the world, and I just want to tell you guys that I'm all settled in and I'm nice and comfy, and today you are listening to me from here instead of where I usually record from.
Okay. And we're on the road with Mickey. And in this case, it's a literal on the road with Mickey because Sophie is down in Florida.
Oh
So,
yeah.
this opens up a lot of possibilities where we might have some podcasting like on location type stuff where Sophie reports from Disney Springs or Sophie checks in from Universal City Walk or maybe she checks in from the Magic Kingdom or something like that. So there's
We'll just
endless
have to see.
possibilities. We'll have to see. But
Mm-hmm.
as always, this is On the Road with Mickey. This is episode number 39 now, and it's for September 28th, 2020. And our feature topic this week is our top Disney restaurants. Way back in episode 4, so back in January, we did an episode on our favorite quick service restaurants, and it was a short episode in part because I was fighting a really bad cold and I sound horrible. So don't go back and listen to episode 4. Just wipe it off of the memory. But we thought we'd come back and we would talk about our top Disney restaurants of any kind. They can be table service, counter service, whatever floats your boat. So check in and listen to our selections for our top restaurants and see whether or not they are on your list. And also let us know if they are your top restaurants or what your top restaurants are. So, so that's our feature topic. But as always, we are going to get started with some cheddar from the Big Cheese, and we've got some exciting cheddar. We got some that's kind of crazy, but we have some that's kind of fun too. So, Sophie, why don't you take the first one for us?
I would absolutely love to because this piece of cheddar is an extremely adorable thing that I'm sure everyone will want to hear about. And it involves a new baby Maasai giraffe that was born in Animal Kingdom on September 22nd. She is a beautiful baby girl. She has not been named yet, to my knowledge, but her mother is Mara and her dad is George. Congratulations to the proud parents.
Exactly. Yeah, no name yet, which is not uncommon. And I'm gonna put it out there right now that I think she should be named Rafiki because Rafiki is a great name for any giraffe, male or female. Don't you think?
I think it's a
Maybe
great
not.
name for a friend because that's what it means.
Yeah. So, but anyway, she's doing really well. So, congratulations to Mara and George, and congratulations to the team over at Animal Kingdom. And Sophie, Mommy, and I were talking about this at lunch today, and we learned that this Maasai giraffe is actually the 35th giraffe born at Animal Kingdom.
Oh, wow. They
So
have a
that's pretty
booming
cool.
population, don't they?
Yeah, they have a program called oh gosh, what is it? The something, it's the SSP, something survival program. And it's a program designed to help the population of animals in the known world, in the regular world, that are under threat of extinction. So this is a program to help keep that from happening. So it's a very important program, and so this was one of those 35 that was born under that program. So I think it's kind of cool. Um, but anyway, moving on to our next piece of cheddar, we are still going slightly nuts over Disneyland. Um, the Disney executives came out on record and said that they're in limbo. They're waiting to get reopening guidelines from the governor of California, from Governor Newsom, and right now that's not happening. So they don't know when they're going to open. But I do know that we received our Disney email as a travel agent. We received our email that said that cancellation emails to guests are slated to arrive for arrivals on October 10th. So, I kept saying that I think they're going to open in October, but the longer this drags out, the less likely I'm going to be right. So hopefully this all gets resolved soon. And
Hmm.
and from what we saw when we were at Disney World in July, we saw how well done it was, that they took everything so seriously. So to me, I just want to see the same seriousness applied at Disneyland, and I think it can be and will be. And I just waiting for all those ducks to get in a row so they can reopen. So,
Agreed.
but over in Hawaii, you want to take this next one, or do you want me to take it and then you take the last?
I would love to take this next one. Unlike Disneyland, Aulani, the DVC resort in Hawaii that stands for Disney Vacation Club
Hmm?
in Hawaii, is planned on a phased reopening starting on November 1st. So at least we have a date for that one, and hopefully, Disneyland will follow soon after. I remember Aunt Sheila actually showed me some cheddar myself, and it says that Disneyland they're ready. They're ready to
Yeah,
reopen, and they're about to make contact with the governor of California to try and push those reopening plans to getting passed.
yeah, and I think they already have made contact. So it's a matter of
Hmm.
you know waiting, and there's so much reason for them to reopen, but you know what, it's not in their hands right now. So but anyway, we're going to move on from COVID talk, but we do have one last bit of cheddar, and that is a sign of things returning to a more normal environment. Two things have happened, Sophie, on this past weekend. So, the weekend of the 26th and 27th, Chefs de France reopened. So, you can now make a table service reservation at France in Epcot's World Showcase. And also in Epcot, earlier last week, there was reports that some fireworks testing had been going on at Epcot in the World Showcase Lagoon for one of the shows that will probably be there for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So it's
Wonderful.
exciting news, and I read an article where they were talking about how it seemed like it would be more um, logical for fireworks to resume first at Epcot, because with the World Showcase Lagoon, you have a lot more space to spread out, and so you're able to have a much easier way of being socially distanced from while
Mhm.
watching fireworks. Whereas in Magic Kingdom, everyone just slams together in Main Street for the most part. So that makes it less likely that those fireworks will be back anytime soon. But at Epcot, I could see it certainly happening. So two big things happened, and I'm excited because it means that we're getting back to new normal. To
Mhm.
back to a normal sort of environment. So, and just a reminder, we record these and we post them on our YouTube channel, and you can find us on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search for On the Road with Mickey. And we would love it if you subscribed and liked our videos, and let us know what you want to see on YouTube, because we have some other content out there as well. We have some ride videos. We have we have some shows. We have like Carousel Progress out there. We have um, Pirates of the Caribbean out there, and we have some other stuff. So we'd love it if you would check it out and let us know what you think of them. So I'll put the link in the show notes, and you can also go straight to YouTube and search for On the Road with Mickey. All right,
Mhm.
and that finishes up our cheddar from the big cheese, and so that takes us to our feature topic. And Sophie, like we talked, our feature topic is our top Disney restaurants, and that can be quick service, counter service. Um, if you want a popcorn at the kiosk over in Town Square, that can be your favorite sort of restaurant. It's kind of a restaurant, maybe a little bit. Eh, that might be a
Eh,
stretch.
yeah.
but um and it's not just in the parks. It could be at the resorts, it could be over at Disney Springs, all sorts of things, so
Yep.
let's take it away. Sophie, do you have a top Disney restaurant that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I have to say, the way we set up this question to be answered was very open-ended, so I've
Very.
actually taken the liberty of choosing a few restaurants, all based around which park they're in, because the park matters so much on this channel.
Yeah,
So I have to ask you before I start, which park would you like to hear about first?
I want to hear about Hollywood Studios.
All right. Well, I have to say that my top restaurant in Hollywood Studios is one that I actually haven't been to in a very long while, and that would be 50's Prime Time. I
Good
love the
choice.
50's, and I love the style of the restaurant. It is a
Hmm.
family style with a twist in that you are sucked into the atmosphere and you become part of the family, and your waitress is known as Ma, and she
Yep.
and it is always 6:30 at 50's prime time because that is the ideal time for dinner, and Ma is serving you dinner. And do not, I repeat, do not be a whiny baby around Ma like my dad was when we went there. You want to tell that story?
I would love to tell that story. So here's the setting. We were having dinner. It was my wife Cindy and Sophie and myself, and we were there with my sister-in-law Nancy and her husband Otis, and their daughter Anna Jane, and also with um, Anna Jane's grandma, Nancy's mom Sherry, and with my niece Stephanie and her boyfriend at the time. And we were all eating there, and we had a big reservation, and they sat us down, and we're handing out our silverware and whatnot. And I noticed that there was one silverware short, and I was like, "Ma, excuse me, but but we're one short on the silverware." And immediately, Ma, who had a very much a New York, New Jersey accent, goes, "Oh, we have a whiner." And all of a sudden, she starts going off onto this story about whiners and no one likes a whiner and all that. And so, but she did get me a silverware. But it was so
Mhm.
funny. It was so funny.
Yep. And Grandma Sherry was the party pooper. I don't remember exactly what she did. And my mom was the first member of the Clean Plate Club.
Yeah, she
Yep.
was. Yeah, Grandma Sherry also she said something um about how I didn't do something or whatever, and and all of a sudden Grandma Sherry was the party pooper, and then and Nancy did not want to finish her green beans. And let me tell you, when you're at 50s prime time, you need to finish your green beans. Because if you don't, then what they do is they take away your green beans and they go doctor it up with whipped cream and some candy pieces and whatnot, and they serve it back to you for you to finish. And it was really nasty looking.
Ew. I forgot
But
about that part.
yeah, but you're right. You have to finish. You have to be part of your clean plate club, or you will not be able to get dessert.
Yep.
So
And they
anyway,
actually serve a lot of food there. It's really fun. I
yeah,
really enjoyed it. It's a lot like Whispering Canyons, which is a it is a restaurant.
restaurant,
Sorry, I mixed up my words. It's a restaurant in the Wilderness Lodge, and we've
correct.
eaten there as well. Their bottomless milkshakes are delicious, but I will leave I will leave it on that note. Daddy, what about you?
So I was gonna say um, that yeah, the 50s Primetime Cafe is really good, and it's definitely one that I recommend. And you know what? I think at some point we need to make another reservation to eat there again
We really do.
because it has been
Yeah.
a long time since we ate there.
Yeah, it
And
has.
and you know, for table service restaurants at Hollywood Studios, I think it's on my list as well.
Mm,
So we actually ate there a time before that, or time after. I think it was before, and we were at our table, and there was a table next to us, because it was just the three of us at, at this situation or this reservation, and when we when they sat us, they're saying, she was like saying, "Well, I'm Ma, and then these are your cousins, okay?" And they were at the next table over, and we didn't know them, but they were cousins. And it actually turned out that the family at the table next to us was from an area of North Carolina that isn't that far from us, and we live in Raleigh, so it really was almost like they were cousins because we were both from North Carolina and they were only about an hour away.
oh,
so
wow.
so that was kind of cool that they really were almost cousins. So
Wow.
so we have a couple good stories for 50s Primetime Cafe.
Mhm.
So Sophie, moving on to another park.
Yeah.
You picked the park this time, and let's see what you want to announce or ask me for my top restaurant at that park.
Well, Daddy, why don't we go with your top restaurant again? And I want to say Magic Kingdom. What's your top restaurant there?
Okay. Well, there's several places I like at the Magic Kingdom.
Oh.
I like the Crystal Palace because of the character in it, meet and greet.
Mhm.
I like, we ate at Tony's this past trip in July, and I liked it because we hadn't eaten there in so long. It'd been probably 12 years, I want to say, since we'd eaten there, and it was good, and I enjoyed it. But that one's not a top restaurant, I don't think. Um, I also like Liberty Tree Tavern, and we're going to be eating there in November on
Yep,
Thanksgiving Day. So
Thanksgiving.
that's an exciting one because that's family style, and that'll be Thanksgiving dinner. Um, and I haven't been there for dinner, but I have been there for lunch, and I liked um, back when it was counter service for lunch. I liked Be Our Guest for lunch.
Mm.
You know, and I also liked the Columbia Harbor House for lunch. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
for lunch or
yeah.
dinner because it's a counter service. So it's kind of hard to pick just one, but I think if I had to pick it, I would probably say Crystal Palace. Go back to the first one I mentioned because of the character interaction and because it's such a pretty restaurant, with the beautiful facade and it's a wide open hall and the characters are just wandering around and you get pictures with them, you get autographs, you get a lot of food to eat because it's a buffet and it's just great. And we have a lot of good memories from when we've eaten there in the past. So I think for the Magic Kingdom, I'm going to say the Crystal Palace. And
Mm.
if Liberty Tree was still a character dining, then that might be on my list as higher up. But it's not. So there you go. Choice made.
Yep.
What about you, Soph?
Well, I agree with you. There are a bunch of restaurants at the Magic Kingdom that I really, really, really love. I have to say, I've never eaten there before this year, but Pecos Bill Cafe, one, it is huge and that is wonderful to me. But two, it also has some really good food there and it's quick and out of the sun
Mm,
and it's just a great place to go cool off.
yeah,
And
you're right.
I
Pecos
was
Bill.
I was very thankful for it when we were there in July because poor mommy, she was just dying from that heat and it was a good place to go. We could all cool off and we could get back up on our feet. There was always a place for you to sit there because I don't think that place could ever be filled. But that is not my all-time favorite one. I do love it and
Mhm.
I'm grateful for it. But I have to say that my all-time favorite Magic Kingdom restaurant would have to be Cinderella's Royal Table.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And how could I not even mention that? I mean, that's called a brain cramp or something because that should have been on my list too.
Yeah,
So
go
tell me
big or go
why
home.
CRT is your favorite.
Cinderella's Royal Table. Well, when we ate there the last that I remember, it was late at night
Hmm.
and we were right by the windows, I believe.
Yes, well, we weren't far from the windows. We had a big group, so
Mhm.
so we weren't able to be right at the windows. If I'm thinking of the same one you are.
Yep. And we and all I remember is I had a giant goblet, a beautiful giant goblet of apple juice, and it was very delicious. Of course, apple juice is always delicious, but what I remember most about it was we were getting done with our meal, and all of a sudden we heard a huge bang outside, and we look out the window, and the fireworks show was starting.
Yeah. Yep.
It was so pretty to see, and me being a little girl at the time had no idea that the fireworks didn't happen right above the castle, and I had no idea that I would be able to watch the fireworks from the castle.
Yeah.
So the fact that I still got to see them for, at that time from inside such a beautiful hall, because the hall itself is absolutely gorgeous. I love
You're
everything
right.
about it. The theming is impeccable. And to see the fireworks from inside there, it felt like a dream.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Um, and not only were you able to see the fireworks outside the windows, which we had to look through, because we didn't, like I said, we didn't have a window seat because we had a party of 8. Um,
Yeah.
so it was a big group. But they also had the show music coming on inside the dining hall as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we got the whole show just from within, and so that was really neat. And when we first made that reservation, and when I first made that reservation, Sophie, I thought, and that reservation for everyone that's listening was at 8:30 p.m. And we had some young kids with us. We had like a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old maybe. Um, so we were really worried about it being too late for them. Um,
Yeah.
but their parents that were there with us said, "No, let's keep it." And you know what? We'll just have a late snack in the afternoon before dinner, so that'll hold them over. And we did that, and so that 8:30 time window ended up being perfect. And what I thought was a horrible time just ended up being a really great time for being able to experience all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a great trip and a great memory of that meal. So you're right. Cinderella's Royal Table is where it's at.
Yeah. I love Cinderella's Royal Table. Well then,
Awesome.
what about the next park? Which one are we going next?
Well, um, I would say that one of the things that I would look at is, sorry, someone walked into my office. Um,
Gotcha.
I would say let's save Epcot for last and let's look at Animal Kingdom.
I agree. Best for
Okay.
last.
Okay. So for Animal Kingdom, Sophie, are you going to highlight a quick service or a counter service or a table service restaurant
I have to say,
or
as
both?
much as I love the table service restaurants, when it comes to Animal Kingdom is not meant for table service, in my humble opinion. You can disagree with me and I will respect your opinion, but for me, Animal Kingdom is a kingdom of quick service
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to miss what's going on outside. And if you get for a table service, you're going to be stuck inside. So I have to
Makes
say
sense.
that my favorite Animal Kingdom restaurant is a quick service simply called the Yak and Yeti.
Yak and Yeti. I know it. I know it
You,
well. We
you
ate there in
can't
July.
beat, no, you cannot beat the Yak and Yeti. Absolutely cannot.
Do you remember what you had when last time you ate there?
I had egg rolls the last time I ate there, and I think
And
you had pot stickers of some sort.
I had chicken fried rice,
Oh,
which I always get chicken fried rice. But I was gonna say for your egg rolls, it was an order of two, and those were very big egg rolls. They were probably about 5 inches long each of them, and yeah, maybe even 6 inches.
yeah, they
So
were about that big and that thick.
yeah, so they were good. That's a
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It was not a big price, and it was a lot of food for that, and that was the perfect amount for what you wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And then, of
and
course,
and
there's the water. The
yeah,
water was key.
yeah. But the chicken fried rice is good, and I think mommy got orange chicken or something like that. Um, and that kind of environment is perfect because you can share a lot of it. You can have break up that fried rice into a couple different plates, and a couple people eat off of it, and the same thing with the chicken and the egg rolls. Break them up into two or three little servings, and it just works out well.
Yep. They
So
make sure that you get enough food for your money.
yeah,
They do not leave you hungry.
exactly, exactly. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Um, but that's a good one. I don't know if it's my top restaurant there though, although it seems like every time I'm like, let's go have Yak and Yeti. Um, but there's a lot of other ones that are really good too. So it's kind of like a 1A, 1B for me. Yak and Yeti, and of course Yak and Yeti, you can also make a table service restaurant reservation. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you want to sit down and get out of the heat a bit, or just to get a little off your feet, that's an option as well. But
Yep.
what I was going to say is another option is the Flame Tree Barbecue, which is also counter service, and that's one that I really like a lot. Um, it's got really good barbecue and really good environment for sitting down. You're in the middle of the woods and whatnot, so you can have some shady spots and things like that. And it's just a really good environment. We haven't eaten there in in quite a while, so it's got to be on our list for the next time, I think, at least to pick up a to-go order.
Yeah.
And then over in Pandora, there's Satuli Cantina. Is that what it is? Something
Mm-hmm.
like that. That's a good one. They have a lot of good food there too, and all three of those that we mentioned, other than the table service for Yak and Yeti, they all have a quick service component, and so they're all quick service. So so that's so that will save you some time and some money when it comes to eating at Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
So that takes us, Sophie, to the part with the hardest to choose restaurant for a favorite,
Maybe for
because it's
you.
Epcot, and there are probably 10 to 12 restaurants that are top notch.
That's true. That's true. However, the choice for me, and I believe the choice for you as well, is actually pretty easy.
Okay, so you
Uh,
go ahead and tell us the choice
the choice, I believe, is the Garden Grill for both of us.
then. you know, I'm having Chick-fil-A diet lemonade, and it's really good.
Cool. I'm having Fanta Orange.
There you go. I was gonna say, before our July trip, hands down, you're absolutely right. Garden Grill is where it's at.
But
But this last trip when we ate at the Garden Grill, I don't know what it was. It wasn't the characters. The characters still, we still had fun with the characters, even though we couldn't get hugs and close pictures and whatnot. Um, but the food was just okay. I don't know
mm,
what was off about it, but it just wasn't as good this time. So
I
so
don't
for
know.
me, it's still a top-notch restaurant that I love to eat at, but I also have others that I don't mind trying out, you know.
That's
And
true.
if and it also depends on your palate and what you're in the mood for, but Via Napoli is still one of my favorite restaurants because they have the best pizza there in the world, and at least in the Disney world, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, we haven't eaten at the Seas. Um,
There's a place at the seas?
yeah, there's the Coral Reef. Um,
Oh,
there's a restaurant there where you can eat, and
I
you're
didn't know
by
that.
the aquarium. So that's one that we might want to try. We haven't eaten there. Um,
Definitely.
there's
What?
some others that we still have on our list to try, like the one in Great Britain um, that serves the fish and chips. That's the Rose and Crown. Um, Le Cellier is a signature restaurant, so that's going to be very expensive as far as that goes. We haven't eaten there. Um, Chefs de France, I think I would like to try at some point.
Mm.
and on and on and on. There's a boatload of them that we haven't eaten at, but I think of Epcot dining, my two jams are Garden Grill and Via Napoli. But you know what? Beer Garden is good too. So
Yeah, Beer Garden was pretty good. The only problem is that there's no way they could make it gluten-free because it's a brewery too.
right, exactly. So we can't eat there with Sheila and Jagan and Randy. That's unfortunate. But but it's a good one to eat at though. So there's a lot of good ones to eat at.
Mhm.
And you know what? We didn't even touch on, and so I might have three tops at Epcot, because um, Akershus with Princess Storybook
Akershus.
Dining in Norway is really good, also. You
You're
know,
right. Their
so
Thanksgiving dinner, it was amazing.
so I actually think I will put that one as 1A, and then Garden Grill and um Via Napoli as 1B and 1C. Because I would be happy at all three of them. So and I think this last time was just that one time. It was just a little bit different, not quite up to what I always expect. But
I don't know. I still
but
think the goldfish and the mac and cheese was genius.
yeah. So anyway, I'll definitely try it again. I just thought that it wasn't quite what I wanted, um, for that experience to be. And so,
Mhm.
all right. So, bonus round. Do you have a restaurant at a resort that you want to throw out there?
Maybe not a resort, but I will say Disney Springs.
Okay. Well, give me a restaurant at Disney Springs you like.
Okay, so there is this Irish pub place at Disney Springs, and they have the best fish and chips. And the only problem is that I forgot their name. Hold on, give me a sec.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's been a while.
there's two components to it. There's Raglan Road, which is the table service component,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the counter service component, which is where we ate, and we ate there with, mommy and I met you guys there, um,
Yep.
over Thanksgiving weekend one year with
Mm-hmm.
Sheila and Randy and Jagan, and they're the ones that introduced us to it. So that one, was counter service, but it's basically the same kitchen, and I think you can order the same menu for the most part. So it's
Yep.
really kind of cool. Um, and I can't remember the name of the counter service one either. So
Hold on. I'm looking.
okay, while you're looking there, I will say that at Disney Springs, um, one place that I really like is, and it's a quick service, and it's really easy to get in and get out,
Cooks of
and
Dublin.
Cooks of Dublin. Thank you, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Cooks of
one that
Dublin.
I was going to say is a sandwich spot, and it's the Earl Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
They have great sandwiches. It's quick, it's easy. You get your food, you sit down, you eat, and and you're filled because it's a lot of food, and it's not a heavy hit on your wallet. So a roll of sandwich to me is worth checking out if you're at Disney Springs and you want something quick. And there's so many new restaurants there that we haven't
Mm-hmm.
been to. You know, so
Vivo il gelato.
hmm
Yep.
there's a lot of them. Um, there's Wine Bar George, and Amanda and Carl went there for dessert and had a funny story from it, which I need to get them on so that they can tell us that funny story
Mm-hmm.
because it was so funny. But I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to leave that for when I can convince Amanda to join the show, Sophie.
A tiny little more leverage. Let's go.
Yeah,
Tiny.
yeah. Um, so, but there's a lot of them. There's also, I think there's the chicken guy, and
Mm-hmm.
there's some other ones too. So anyway, there's a lot of restaurants that you should try out, at Disney Springs, and we talked about a bunch of them on our podcast from Disney Springs when we talked about Disney Springs and what goes on there. So, so that was episode. That was what
An
was it? So
episode. An
episode
episode.
17. Episode
Gotcha.
17, Exploring Disney Springs.
Gotcha.
So, so keep that in mind, people. If you are
Mm-hmm.
interested in learning more about Disney Springs, go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that when it comes to resorts, um, there are a lot of resorts and a lot of um, good restaurants at these resorts. And one of the resorts that we've eaten for breakfast, we've never eaten there for dinner, and we're going to be eating there on this upcoming trip is Kona Cafe. Now, Kona Cafe
Oh.
is known for their Tonga toast, of course, for breakfast, which
Mm-hmm.
is super sweet, super huge, and actually too sweet and too big for me. So it's not quite on my list of foods I've got to just have. Um, but
Yeah.
they also have Kona Cafe. You can get it for lunch and dinner. And at dinner, I think in lunch and dinner, and the menu then is Polynesian, more with like a twist on seafood and Chinese dishes and things like that. Polynesian fare, like you would find a mix of different things, like um, like some really good um,
Yep.
poly type dishes. So that's I know I'm horribly ruining it, but that's definitely on our reservation list for this coming trip in November. So I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
about having that happen and seeing what it's going to be like. So so that'll be one we'll report back on after we eat there, right?
Right.
So but there's a boatload of different places to eat throughout Walt Disney World,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of touched on some of our favorites, but I want to know what your favorites are. So if you are interested, send us an email. You can send it to info@ontheroadwithmickey.com, or you can send us a voicemail message to our voicemail box. It's 919-799-3680, and let us know what your favorites are. Or you can go onto our Facebook group, On the Road with Mickey group, and talk about your favorite restaurants there, and so forth. So let us know, and thanks for joining us. Just let us know what your favorites are. So,
Yep, I was about to say, don't forget, we're not quite done yet, Daddy.
oh, no,
I
but
heard you going to say see you on the road, and I was like, wait, 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 we're not done.
no, I wasn't going to say that. But we are done with our feature topic, unless you have one last thing you want to add.
Nope, I say we are done, and I think it's time that we moved on to this day in Disney history.
Hey, well, go for it, Sophie. What do you got for us?
I have two things concerning Epcot, and I think they are rather interesting.
Okay.
And they are side by side when it comes to the years, and they are in 1981 and 82. All right, 1981, September 28th. The Miami Herald reports this. With the opening of Epcot Center next fall, Disney officials hope to launch an entirely new generation of lovable, laughable characters. To
Hmm.
that end, they have banned Mickey Mouse from the elaborate new theme park and declared it the domain of the new characters. Dozens of characters will be born on the stages of Epcot Center, and artists are now striving to develop individual personalities and voices for every one of them. A single character, if he captures the public imagination, will be worth millions to the company.
Yeah. And
Now, as we
how well did banning Mickey from Epcot work?
Oh, it went horribly. But we do have a few new characters at Epcot, and I can name one of them. Do you know who I might be talking about, Daddy?
I'm gonna guess Duffy.
I was not thinking Duffy. I was
Okay.
thinking Figment, for
Oh
he
yeah,
captures
true.
the public imagination as he is a figment of imagination.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. He is probably one of the ones that they were coming up with for Epcot. I do not have any list of characters to go along with this statement. All I have is the rumors that the Miami Herald reported in 1981.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So now
then,
you
a
have
following
1982.
year,
Uh-huh.
remember that I said that Epcot would open the fall after 1981?
Mhm.
Well, in 1982, at Epcot Center, the pavilions of Canada, China, and France open around the World Showcase between 4 p.m. and midnight for a soft opening in preparation for its grand debut.
Yep.
Annual passports, special year-long admission passes, are also introduced at Walt Disney World.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because September 28th would have been just a few days before Epcot opened because Epcot opened on October 1st of
That is
1982.
correct.
So they're hoping to get everything going to celebrate the 40th anniversary in 2022. But of course, the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort happens before, which will be on October 1, 2021. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of moving parts to that. But yeah. So I didn't know though that those pavilions opened early on a soft opening.
Yeah,
That's
I wasn't.
cool.
Mm-hmm. It is very, very cool. I'm not quite sure exactly what it was like to have them open early, but my guess is that they actually may have allowed certain guests into World Showcase probably through that back entrance through the friendship boats.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So
the
that's my
friendship
guess.
boats and the international gateway. That's my guess too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Anything else?
nope, that is all I have to say. So why don't we move on to your Disney Who's Who character?
Okay. Well, my Disney Who's Who character is a Disney princess.
Ooh.
And she is the daughter of a chief.
Hmm.
And I'll
The
bet you.
daughter of a chief,
Mhm.
but she's also a princess.
Yep.
I'm going Pocahontas
You're absolutely right.
because
Because,
Moana is not a princess.
yeah. And Pocahontas is the daughter of Chief Powhatan. Pocahontas Pocahontas believes in listening to her heart and following her own path. When her father tells her that she is to marry Kokum, she refuses. She doesn't believe that marrying the brave warrior is the right path for her. Pocahontas communes with nature, often taking advice from the wise grandmother Willow, and enjoys spending time with her animal friends Miko and Flit. She is free spirited and curious, excuse me, always wanting to know what's around the river bend. When she meets the English settler John Smith, Pocahontas is curious about his world as he is about hers. She teaches him about the beauty and importance of nature and soon finds herself falling in love with the foreigner. Pocahontas bravely throws herself in front of John Smith to prevent her father from executing him. Excuse me. Sorry. Her selfless cry for peace stops a war between the settlers and her tribe. And now, real quick, did you know that Pocahontas is part of the Powhatan tribe? of Virginia, my home state, and she is the only Disney princess to be based on a real person.
That's right, because Mulan was based on a ballad.
Yep. So there you go. I thought that was really neat.
That is very neat.
So, and then our Walt Disney quote is on the subject of education. And this tells us in this Walt Disney quote that education is important, but it also doesn't have to be so serious. So Walt says, and I quote, "When the subject permits, we let fly with all the satire and gags at our command. Laughter is no enemy to learning." End quote. So it's a short and sweet quote, but it does remind us that, it doesn't have to always be so serious, and you can still learn and get a lot out of it. So that's important. But that's what I got, Sophie.
I love it.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining me as always. And I want to just remind everyone that On the Road with Mickey is sponsored by Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis and Tech Solutions NC. If you have any computing or travel needs, reach out to them. Tech Solutions is found at techsolutionsnc.com or on Facebook, and you can reach Mike for travel needs at mike@pixievacations.com or on Facebook at Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis. Sophie, thank you for joining me this week, and I'm glad that it's working out with the new digs, and that that it's all going to keep going, and we're going to be able to have as good a show as we always did. And we will
see you
on the road.
Bye.